Welcome to an intro to multivariable functions. So first up, what is a multivariable function? A multivariable function is a function whose domain is in more than one dimension. So it is multidimensional. So typically you're going to be going from either the XY plane or the XYZ space. So the domain is typically the XY plane, which is known as R2. It's the real numbers times by real numbers, or the XYZ space, which is usually known as R3. So for example, so this is the domain, and then the function puts out a real number. So a multivariable function is a function whose domain is multidimensional, which has real numbers as outputs. So an example of a multivariable function might be f of x comma y comma z is equal to x, y, z plus 3. So if we evaluate at the point 1, 2, 3, so a three-dimensional point, x, y, z, we get f of 1, 2, 3 would be 1 times 2 times 3 plus 3, or what is that, 9. And so we put in a multidimensional point as our input. It puts out a single real number. So this is a multivariable function. So the question now is, why are we discussing multivariable functions in Calculus 2? Calculus 3 is often known as multivariable calculus. So it would seem that we should discuss multivariable functions in Calc 3. So we will see multivariable functions in much more detail in Calc 3. So you will see multivariable functions in much more detail in Calc 3. However, those of you planning to take differential equations will need to know some very basic multivariable calculus. But if you are planning to take differential equations, at the same time as Calc 3. Which is absolutely allowed. Calc 3 is a co-requisite for differential equations, not a prerequisite. So if you're planning to take differential equations at the same time as Calc 3, then you will need some basic knowledge of multivariable calculus. In DiffEq, and you will need it before you see it in Calc 3. So the specific knowledge that you will need is partial derivatives. So the specific knowledge needed early in Calc 3, or needed early in differential equations. Is partial derivatives. So despite the fact that it will be covered again in Calc 3, we're going to do a quick intro to partial derivatives for those of you planning to go straight into differential equations next semester. So again, at this point, we're just kind of covering basic skills needed in your next math classes, and partial derivatives will be one of them.